Okay. Good evening, everyone. First of all, welcome to each and every one of you who is present in this session. We would like, the videos to be switched on, if that is possible at your end. That will make the interaction livelier and smoother. We would like to begin with the launch of a poll, and I'd request each one of you to participate in the same place. Aditi, if you could do the needful at your end.
Priya? Doyle, can you continue, please?
Yes. I would request Madhura Dasgupta Sinha, the founder and CEO of AFH, to address the session. Please.
Thank you so much, Doyle. And it's lovely to see all of you here trying to rev up your resumes. Well, aspire for her, and I see many, many new faces, and that's of great comfort and happiness to all of us here. Aspire for her was born out of a sense of despair and disenchantment with the fact that India is absolutely at the bottom in terms of women's economic participation. In fact, 2 days ago, there's a new report which got published, which is on the Global Gender Gap Index. And we still seem to be really, really lagging behind in a racing towards something which is not the top spot, but the other side of the table. And that's something which really left me feeling very disturbed. And I thought that we needed a space for women where they can have a safe space and they can actually, just a minute, I'm just trying to mute the person. Thank you. Yes. They can have a safe space and they can get motivated to enter and stay in the workplace. We want to add 1 million women to the workforce by 2025. And currently we are working with a whole lot of corporates, whether it's Amazon, Google, whether it's a bunch of banks, whether it's organizations like Bayer, most of them very forward-looking, diversity focused organizations who are looking at hiring women. They want to welcome more women into their organizations. The first step of any recruitment journey is obviously your resume. And that is why I am so delighted to welcome one of our longest standing mentors, Priyanka Bhartiya, here to actually rev up your resume. Priyanka works with many very talented young folks who actually seek her help for their careers, both professional and academic. And Priyanka is the best person I know to actually talk about resume building and to help you ensure that even before you step into that room, even before you step into the organization, your resume creates an impact because first impressions are lasting impressions. And with that, I will hand over back to Doyle. And I'm really looking forward to Priyanka's tips on how to build great resumes. She's very generous. She has also promised to help some folks one-on-one. Some lucky folks at the end of the Zoom session will also get one-on-one resume preparation tips from Priyanka so that your resume truly stands out among the ocean of applicants who apply to the job. We would want all those jobs to go to women and who are our members and of course also our supporters. So we're not only about women, we also have men who are supporting our cause and who also want to see more women in the economy to unleash the $1 trillion opportunity of the Indian economy. So that's it from my side. All the very best. Have a great evening ahead. This is a great way to spend Friday evening, I can tell you that. And Doyle, back to you.
Thank you, Madhura. It's always a pleasure, listening to you. The number of times we do that, we want more from your end. The dil mange more. Anyways, to begin the session, I would like to introduce our gracious speaker, Priyanka Bhartiya, who has been a journalist, writer, a mentor for students across India for over a decade, as managing director in India for the world's leading virtual counseling company, Accept You. She has got students into top universities across the globe and has the ability to support students to build a resume and profile that makes them stand out for their colleges and jobs. So request you, Priyanka, to begin our session, on this Friday evening. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. And please begin the session for us.
Thank you so much, Madhura. Thank you so much, Doel. I really don't know if I can ever live up to Madhura's expectations, but on the hope of a very good meal that she constantly keeps feeding me, let's hope I get a good, quick, free meal really soon. Good evening, all these amazing, incredible women here. When we speak about resume, I really went back to my own journey. And when did I first make my resume? And would you believe it? When I was 18, I didn't know what a resume meant. When I was 21, I had already finished 3 years of working in journalism. I still didn't have a resume. When I was 23 and I finished my master's in marketing and journalism, and when Times of India was to hire me, they said, can we have your resume? You're hired anyway. And I was like, I don't have a resume. So my first resume was actually made by Times of India for me. So with that, can you imagine, here I am today trying to teach people how to make a resume. But that is also because, one, I got into the corporate world late. I was working with my own family. I realized how important it is for women to value their own resumes. Two, because when I work with students, you will still not believe it that 80% of the top rich families turn around and tell me, can you help our son? Our daughter will figure what she wants to do, right? Third, when it comes to masters, when it comes to actually looking for jobs or changing jobs, so many times parents have turned around and said, it's okay, she's going to handle her husband's job, she'll handle her husband's work, and that's good enough. And none of this is true, okay? Women, please believe me, it's not. I also have a child. I also come from a reasonably good background with a very large family business, but I did it on my own, and I did it when I turned 45 as well. So if I can do it, so can each one of you. So with that, I'm going to start sharing my screen. But more than anything, I actually want to invite my very sweet, very nice young girl. Okay, there's so much happening on my screen. Okay. Can you all see the screen now? Awesome. So I want to invite one of my young students, Rhea. Rhea has done her undergrad at SCAD. She studied business, she studied design, fashion, management. This girl has constantly got a GPA of 4.0. Brilliant girl, always ready to help. But will you believe it if I told you, she is the girl who's gone through one whole year of not knowing how to get a job. And she's finally got her job. And one of the key tricks she learned was resume. She never gave up. The girl refused to come back. The girl refused to break down. The girl refused to come under pressure. So she deserves to have me as much, in this platform than anyone else. So let's start with revving up our resume. Okay. Oops, I really don't know how to do this. How do I move to the next page? Okay, then. Rhea, do you know how to help me?
You should just be able to click the keys and it should work. The side keys or the up and down keys, either one.
Okay, there's so many admits coming that I'm getting very confused. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, actually, I think she's getting all the admits because she's she's the
co-host. That's why.
Co-host. That's why. So if you might want to, but if she's not the co-host, will she be able to share?
No, so
No.
maybe Rhea can share the, Rhea, would you like to share the screen so that Priyanka can?
I'm okay now. I think I'm good.
Actually, don't worry about the admits. Somebody else is taking care of them. So you don't worry
We
about
are
it.
taking care of that. So you
Awesome.
just.
Awesome. What is a resume? There's a lot of confusion behind this word. We have this beautifully termed Indian word called biodata, which is more wedding related word. We have a new term called the CV or the curriculum vitae, and then we have a resume. So it's very important to understand Barack Obama has a one-page resume. So if he has a one-page resume, guys, please don't think you can have more than one-page resume. If there is a need for a detailed information that you have to give, it's called a CV. So it's brief, it's informative, it has to highlight who you are. Don't tell us your entire love story from the time you were 18 to you were 50. Highlight is very important. And more critically, one of the main elements in job search is your resume. Things to remember, like I said, should not be longer than one page. Everyone says this, and I've never understood it, that you make your resume and you can forget about it for a year. Absolutely not. You have to make a new resume every time you're looking at a new job, a new industry, a new scope, a new designation. Your resume has to be customized. It has to be dynamic. Okay, so don't believe anyone who says we'll help you make your resume and bang, it's over. It's not true. What do you reflect? Skills is probably the bottommost portion of a resume, but it is what needs to reflect what the employers value. So if you're not going to read the mission, the value, the ethics, the workforce, what kind of people are they looking? Go to Glassdoor, look at who gets hired and why. Then match yourself. This is a great way to know, do you fit? You know, when we talk about colleges with our children, we always tell them, is it your best fit? What do you mean by your best fit? Imagine you're going to be dating or marrying this company, right? There's no way backward. So if you're going to be dating this company, you better be very truthful so that you find your right match. Okay. So, which is why do more research on who is the company, what does the company want, why do you think you'll fit there? Okay. Important elements, your experience, your work, your skills. Always remember, be transparent. If you have done job hoppings, you can't really fake it. If you have a gap year, don't try and fake it. If you have gap many years, it's all right. We'll work on that. But don't try and hide, because if they get to know later through other resources, that becomes a red flag. Okay, something that both Ria and I are going to love talking about, quantify. You're going to hear this word constantly. Impact, quantify. In short, thumb rule, if every line of yours doesn't have a number, there's something wrong with that line. And maybe it doesn't need to be there. Okay. Guys, I love breaking this myth. No, you don't need to put your photograph. No, we don't need all those details there. Kindly don't put it there. You know, 88, Ria removed that statistics, but 88% of the resumes in US are rejected because there's a photograph. Okay, so don't put your photograph. Let's go into the key elements that we're going to try and discuss today. Objective, should we have it, should we not have it? Education, experience, leadership, skills, and a cover letter. A lot of times, a lot of companies will tell you cover letters not mandatory. Don't fall for that hook. If they're saying cover letters not mandatory, it means we'd like one. If they're clearly saying we do not want a cover letter, that's the only time you don't write a cover letter. And then probably you need to ask that company, do you want a CV or do you just want a resume? Section 1, objective. Oh, I love this. If you see, I start by saying, and I'm quoting, okay, it's unnecessary, maybe even outdated. 50% of the top websites of Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, IIT, LSE, Cambridge say we're unsure. Maybe it's unnecessary. However, there are times when it has worked to the advantage. This is when you're very clear what you want to emphasize. You know the career you want to go in. You have the right skills for that specific job. Okay, so here is what you need to do. Your objective has to be not more than 2 to 3 lines. It has to be right on top. It has to focus on the skills and experience that you wish to highlight to that company. If you are unsure of the skills you want to highlight, no objective. If you're unsure between X job, Y job, and Z job, no objective. All right. This is something that it's got very questioned in the recent times because of LinkedIn. LinkedIn really encourages you to write your little summary. And that is superb. A summary is very different from an objective. A summary is who you are. An objective is why are you coming to us? Okay. So understand these key nuances. This really helps. Okay, examples. We've taken out 3 different examples of objectives, and we'd love you guys to participate. Anyone can, Ria will quickly do the end of it, but any of you can tell us which one do you like and why. So just unmute yourself and talk. Anyone? Which one do you like? Ria, let's start with you. Which one do you like and why?
In my opinion, 3 is the best one. There is a clear objective with the third one, and I'm really getting into the description here. So, I'm just giving you all the answer, easy way out. But 3 is my personal favorite because she tells you what she's doing right now. She tells you what she wants to do in the future and how she plans on doing it and what she plans on doing with the job that you provide to her. It's a very comprehensive sentence, and it's written very well, and it's very impactful to whoever's reading it. Even if I'm applying for a teaching job, I know what job I'm applying for. The job poster knows what job I'm applying for. But why are you applying for that job? And this statement really explains the why.
Anyone else? And that's not there is no clear answer here. So if anyone likes anything else, please jump in. I want this to be interactive because otherwise it's just, I get bored of my own voice eventually too. So I'd love to hear other voices perch in. And I'm very comfortable with quite a few languages. So go ahead and shoot it.
Hello, Priyanka, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Awesome.
Apurva this side. So like Ria pointed out, yes, obviously the third one is pretty impressive because not only has she specified what she wants, she's also very well mentioned what she has done previously. Awesome. And so, that puts that actually aligns the entire thing. So that is what makes her stand apart from the other 2 statements.
What do you think is the key difference between the second and the third, therefore?
Okay. So in the second statement, she's not mentioned anything. She's mentioned about what she's done, but she hasn't mentioned about anything about her experience as such. That how many years experience. So when you said quantifying fact, that is.
Can I cut in a little and say that the second one means a little?
I'm so sorry. I think I'll just unmute.
Awesome, Apurva. Thank you. I love the fact that I love the fact that Apurva has already learned something from me, but someone else was saying something about the second one. Can she unmute? Yes, go ahead, love.
I thought the second one seemed a little braggy, like you were putting.
I love the word you picked up.
Like you're being all that you would be utilizing my award-winning writing and research and leadership skills. Like getting a job is like a 2-way process. You gain experience and they get some skills used. So it's
right?
not
I mean, exactly. This is it's, if you have won an award, then mention that, UN awarded. So you know where you've been awarded and by one. But if you tell me I've got an award-winning writing, you're almost like there are 150 different writing programs that I run for 12-year-olds, right? So how do you know what you're talking about? You haven't told me where you're writing, what you're writing. So I'm really happy that you all managed to clinch the word braggy. Never brag. Something you'll constantly see that we'll talk about, show. Don't tell me, show me. Okay, so that's awesome. Very, very well done. Okay, I'm going to move to
I just want
section.
to quickly cut in, and if you go back to the last slide, the underdog of this objective slide is not the entire sentence of one, but the second half of that sentence. Yes, to secure an internship, but to utilize science knowledge and build laboratory skills. So you know when the candidate is applying for the internship, what exactly they're looking to do and whether that matches the job description or not. If the job they've applied for or the internship they've applied for is in the field of biology or chemistry and is more lab based, the job poster knows that this person is exactly looking for this kind of job and will be perfect for it and will be willing to do this job. So keep that in mind as well. Not a lot of people pointed out one, but just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Had it been quantified a little bit, I think that could have been a great one too. So perfect. Let's move to, therefore, we are coming to section 2. Okay, the experience. The education. Education is really critical, especially when you're an undergrad, it's your first job, you're looking for internships. But there are people who've done a lot of education. Focus on the strongest and the most relevant. If you've done your master's already, you kind of don't really need to tell me you've done CBSE in school. Okay, it's not that relevant. So don't take up 4 different lines for this. Remember 1-page Barack Obama rule. Okay, so that's my first point to you. Is this section organized in a way that is easily readable? Oh my goodness. So we're going to show you a couple of examples, but there are people who follow this in tabular format, story format, half here, half there format, which is called the left-right format. It has to blend in with the rest. Okay, easily readable is a very, very important part of your resume. Don't think just because you're brilliant, just because you're an IITian, everybody wants to know you. Not true. Everybody has only that much time to glance through a resume, and the word is glance. So readability is extremely important. Okay, is it a requirement of the company? If you're applying for computer science and you have studied computer science, it's a requirement. If you're applying for computer science and you've done art, is it really a requirement? Is it taking too much space? Or is it matching up to graphic design? So, keep that in mind. If you've done graphic design in art, why not talk about graphic design in the art and not just give a general, oh, I love art. I've done art courses as a subject in college. Online courses, certificates, completed programs, very, very important. One of the things that I really value about Aspire for Her is the number of programs they offer. If you've done the program, mention the program, because everyone wants to know how you've upskilled your skill. Okay, super important. Okay, month and year, very critical. We don't know when we want to hire you. Just recently, one of my children got into Spotify. They gave her a job and she said, oh, but I'm only graduating 2 months later. And they're like, oh, why was it not mentioned? Right? And the girls lost the job. So that's really critical. Mention your dates of what you're ending so we know, the job knows when they have to offer it to you. Any awards, even if they're mentions, even if they are not coming with a trophy or a tag, mention it. Okay, it's very critical. Okay, I am going to let Ria talk you through the 3 different types she's pulled out. And again, let's open it out to everyone, Ria, before you tell them which one you think works and why. Anybody can unmute.
Yeah, so
I think the second one, because it is more crisp and clear, and since it is tabulated.
Kiran, you're muted now.
I think you got lost for a second there.
She got muted.
Yeah, I was saying the second one because it is more readable and clear since it is tabulated form. So I don't have to go spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes on it. I just know what I want to look for and I have it in front of my eyes.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody else likes anything else? Anyone?
it doesn't need to be like, oh, this is the correct option. It can be like, I like this one more, and that's completely fine because everybody's resume is going to look different, and that's okay.
Or you like an aspect of one of them. That's fine too.
Hi, I think the first one is good for me because the font of education is big and it is readable. So I think the first one would be good. I would go with the first one.
Got it.
That's a personal favorite. I'm biased. It's my resume. You guys will get to see the whole thing a little bit later.
Okay, so Priyanka, am I on mute still? No, I'm on mute, right?
I can hear you.
Okay. So yes, so like the person who was speaking to earlier than me, I mean, I think I also like the first one because I find her really crisp. Because the fact is, in the second one, like they mentioned things that those marks in 2015, 2017. So it's like really, at a very earlier stage. So it is not recent enough. And what I find in the first one is that the data that has been mentioned is of a very recent origin, right? So that is what would be like of more importance for a company.
Correct.
Like if I'm hiring someone, so I would be looking for the latest data, right?
Got it.
Yeah,
super.
standard format.
Ria, why don't you? There was someone else who pumped in something, but Ria, let's jump in. We obviously don't have too much time.
Hello?
Yes.
Ma'am, I think the first one is better because when you're going for second and third, right? They are not the updated versions which we see in the resumes. So in the first thing it's written, the year of completion, as well as how much is your GPA and which is your professions one.
Awesome. Ria, why don't you jump in and say what you like, don't like, and then I'll jump in and do the same.
All right. So I know earlier we talked about, what all you can include in your education section, including awards and, relevant coursework and things like that. I mean, obviously we've established that mine is the top one. So I chose to keep my education section very simple because I included a separate section for coursework and projects that I have done during the time. And I also have a separate section for awards and honors. And you'll see that in my resume later when I show the entire thing to you. But I wanted the education section on the top to be very simple, to just tell the employer what I studied, where I went to school, what my grade was, and when I graduated. And that's all that I wanted them to know in the first line. And of course, I'm going to school for a very different kind of field. I'm not going into STEM like I know a lot of you are. I'm in the creative field. So the way I structure my resume is going to be different. And that's okay. Every employer has a different requirement. Every field has a different requirement and standard. So everybody is going to want something different. Everybody is going to like something different. I know a lot of people like 2 because of the way that it was quantified. But yes, I do agree that there is some older information in 2. And the rule of thumb is that if you're 2 or more than 2 years into college, you do not need your high school experience in there. And that's the rule we tend to follow when building our resume. Of course, in cases, it might be different. In different cases, it might be different. But that's the rule we tend to follow, which is why I don't even have my high school on there. I just have my undergraduate degree. But
so
yeah,
I'm going to jump in here, Ria. One of the things, if you all noticed, is no one likes the third one. And a couple of reasons here. 1, there are 3 different fonts. 2, readability is a problem. Amrita Vishwa Vidya Peetham India is sometimes too much. Okay, even if you want to write AVV or just write Amrita Vishwa, sometimes it's too much information is not helping. Also, this whole exchange student is like, where are you an exchange student? Are you a real student? What is happening here? And 12th June was almost redundant. Another thing in the second one that I struggle with is these asterisks. If I have an asterisk, you are trying to dumb me down where you want me to go down, read something, come back up, read something. Don't do that. Please do not disrespect your reader. Also, 8.33 on 10 is a disrespect to me. I'd rather know it's 83%. You can't say 8.33, then 93, then 9.810. It's not correct. This is disrespecting your reader. Okay. In Ria's, which is the first one, the best part is that while there is a bold, there's a red, the font remains the same. The style remains the same, so it's easier to read. I love vertical lines. A vertical line means you don't need to write a whole statement. You simply put that there. Okay, you guys will have to mute yourself because one, this is live. Two, none of us can hear what we are talking. Thanks. GPA 4.0. Yes, GPA 4.0. She wanted to kill it with what she wants to say. And she did it. Yeah, so if this person, second person would have just written GPA 3.89, it would have worked a lot better. Okay, questions? Yes.
Ma'am, yeah, ma'am told, right? There's no need of high school educations. Yeah, but if in the students who are currently pursuing the UG first year, okay.
So she mentioned that if you finish 2 years of college, the thumb rule is let's talk about college. But if you're still in your first year or even in your second year and you're looking for an internship, you need to have your high school, but not your grade 10, 11 and 12. So be careful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, awesome. We will not do too many questions in between, but we will try and jump in. So with that, let's move to experience, the single most important aspect of your resume. This is the heart. If this doesn't beat for you, you're dead. Okay. So even those who have never worked, you have to be able to creatively focus on projects you've done, leadership you've done, organizations, volunteering as a part of your experience. Okay. So unpaid, paid, volunteering, anything, community service, community activities, anything can come as experience. But if you already have worked for 10 years, then please don't include all of that. Be careful. Okay. Detailed aspects of your roles and responsibility. Time and time again, people have said, I was project head for XYZ Limited. So I don't know what project head means at XYZ. Did were you working with a team of 15 people? Did you co-found a project? Did you lead 3 projects? Did you increase the revenue in one? Did you actually introduce digital marketing into another one? Those are the informations I need to know. And if you've got any recognition, if your HR said good job, or if your head of team said that was great, well done, I'd love you to be a part of my second project, say recognized verbally. You don't have to forget all of that just because you didn't get a letter of recommendation. Say verbal recognition, that's fine. Okay, emphasize your relationships between the past experiences. No one does this. So if you tell me I worked, let's say I worked in XYZ school as an elementary teacher. Next time you're working as a secondary teacher, say, so with my experience of elementary, I have now been able to teach math and physics at secondary level, or whatever you have done, because that's very important for us to keep remembering, oh, she's actually grown. She's actually got more things in her hands to do. Quantify again. Here's what is very important. Taught 35 students, 3 subjects for 4 years. Okay. Or you can say taught several subjects to more than 3 classes over 3 years. You'll notice that when it's numbers, it's crisper, it's succinct and better read, always more impressive. Start dates, like I've always told you, please don't go into 12th June, but June 2020 or even 2020 is enough. Okay. Show, don't tell. Oh, my favorite words. Okay, we're again, before we move to samples, here's how you know what to do in your experience. Do this for yourself. Write this for every experience. And you'll know which ones are important, because you never can highlight more than 3 experiences, okay? Sorry, what did I do in the job? How did I do it? What tools did I learn? With whom did I work? To what extent or impact, or to what extent did I have an impact? try writing all of this down. Eliminate the words which have redundancy. Like a lot of people will say extremely well. Adverbs are useless. Remove adverbs and adjectives. Okay, they're useless in resume writing. Okay, great for descriptive writing, horrible for resume writing. Once you've done this for your 4 or 5 different experiences, you will automatically realize which one is, one, showing value to you, but 2, aligned to the interest of the company that you're going to be sending the resume to. So keep it ready, 5, 6 of your experiences, because it'll be different for every job. Please don't forget that, everyone. You don't sit on a resume ever. It's got to be dynamic. Okay. So we come to our favorite part. Let's look at, so there are going to be a couple of, I think there's one more, right, Riya?
Yeah, there's one more. And there's like differences between them that
awesome.
I will either get into, or I will ask the students to point out.
Awesome. So give me a minute, Riya. Let's let them see these 2, and then I'll show the third one as well. Again, I need new faces to talk up. I have standard ones now, the 2, 3 who've been talking, but you all are 115 people here. I really need you all to chime in, because the only way this will be valuable is if you chime in. So go through these 2, and then we'll put the third one on. I'm just going to show the third one here, because that's a small, sweet, simple one. Okay, let's keep the page here. First, I want any 2 volunteers to tell me which one do they like and why.
Or just point out things you might have noticed that is maybe,
Yeah, whatever part you like, don't worry. Correct. Thanks for pointing that out, Riya. Anyone? 2 new people. Y'all can unmute yourselves and just chat, because I'm not really checking the chat here.
Okay, I'm looking
I like
at
the
the
first
chat.
one.
Okay, it's awesome. We have someone. Yes, talk.
Yes, I like the first one.
Why? Okay. Do you want to say why? Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would
Yes.
say the same. The first one is quite intuitive, as the leadership skills are mentioned, and as you said, the don't tell, show me. That thing is getting quite presented here. So like leadership skills, yes, given us 3 examples, and their operational or recruitment skills. So all the skills are being justified as to why they are here.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else wants to choose any other one? I can once again show you the third one here. Yes, please speak.
Yeah, I would go with the second one, Salesforce.
Okay. Awesome.
I think it's very crisp, just 3 lines, and they even mentioned the numbers over there, and it's very easy to read through the points.
Beautiful. Riya, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I actually really like the second one too. It's short, sweet, simple, very effective. And what I really like in the second one is the way they've highlighted these skills and put them in bold, these softwares that they use during their time. I had a chance to look at the entire resume. The person doesn't even have a skills section. They just go through their experience and highlight their skills, which I think is so effective. And it saves so much space on your resume. You don't have to have this whole big skills section to include. So if that's something that works for you, I think it's really impactful. And it shows how you use these skills that you mentioned. Like, it's a show don't tell situation. So you're not telling me what skills you have. You're showing me where you use them and how you use them. The first one also is really good, but again, be a little bit wary about making your experiences too long, especially because you have 1 page and you will run out of space and you will really rack your head about what needs to go on that 1 page. my resume has gone through 7, 8 different iterations, and each of them has had different things on said page. So it's going to be a challenge, what to include, what not to include, but that is every resume. That's the process of every resume. And just to quickly touch on this third one, this is not doing much for me. If I was a recruiter and I read this, I would almost just look past it, just another resume. But if you see the title, she is the owner and CEO of an online accessories and apparel boutique. That's a big deal. Your resume is the place to brag. She could have said social media marketing for this. In terms of the first point, she could have said social media marketing increased outreach or increased sales by this % through outreach engagement on so and so social media platforms, just something like that. And that would have been much more impactful as one statement compared to the 4 she has right now. So keep in mind, if don't limit yourself, don't belittle yourself. Your resume is the place for you to shine. It's literally one page just about you. So that's where I think this one falls short. And yeah, just remember that as you're writing your experiences and making your bullet points.
I'm going to jump in and quickly do my take on each one. The first one. Now, this particular student had nothing going for him, right? Except for this. And he was a project director and the founder, and he did this. But what you realize is the problem is the readability. There is some things underlined, there's some things bold, there's something left, there's something right, there are brackets. You have to be very careful. Your formatting has to be the simplest. The reason everyone tends to like the second one is because of that. It's so simple and absolutely brilliant to be able to highlight. So this is what we call show don't tell. That I know Grafana. This one says, I use Grafana. I'll tell you how. Okay. And it's beautiful. It's so well explained and so well done. And, if you notice, it's not done much. He's just, and I'm assuming it's a he or a she, but this software engineer intern has literally just done a remote work and managed to be able to show this in June to August. But if you look at this one, and this is the one that makes me cry the most, this one almost, I almost feel it's the opposite, anti or belittling yourself. It's overemphasizing who you are. You mentioned you're the owner and the CEO, and you show me nothing about it. Okay. You've given me a website address, which is very smart, but you've just literally highlighted 4 things without telling me, what did you do? How did you do? What were your failures? How did you grow it? So it falls in quantifying, but it also falls in impact. So just because you're the owner and CEO doesn't mean anything. Okay, so well done, girls. I think you'll all realize that while the first one was so important, the third one was so big on designation, everyone still preferred the second. Okay, leadership and activities. Now, this is especially for those who have minimal experiences or time gaps. Leaderships and activities can be tangible, intangible, soft skill, hard skill, student organizations, volunteering, supporting your ailing family, working with your children, all point towards leadership and activities. And women, we really beat ourselves. We keep thinking, oh my God, raising children is not a leadership. Who says that? Bring me one child who can agree to that. It's not true. Okay, everything I am today, I say started with children, my son, and then all these beautiful children like Ria, who've made me who I am today. They believe in me a lot more than I believed in myself. So please don't undercut yourself. And if you're feeling that, reach out to people like me, because I know where you are and I can help you. Okay. Consider where you worked with, what have you done? Write it down. Make a story about yourself so you'll know what has to be written. Okay. Write about each one of them. Identify your significant contributions, leadership positions. Give concrete examples. Okay, if you've had to, and I say that because I've gone through it, is if you've had to be in a hospital to help someone with chemotherapy or an ailing parent or something like that, it's leadership. I know that, the kind of stakeholders we're dealing with. Okay, mention it. It's fine. If you don't have anything else to talk about, you mention where your time's actually gone. Okay, and the skills you've learned. That's really, really important. And show it to me. Don't tell me that I had to do this, it was miserable. No, tell me that you were doing all of this. You were running between 4 doctors. You had to take that decision overnight. It's a matter of life and death at the end of the day. Now, again, we've got 2 or 3, I think. Oh, we have lots here, unfortunately. Okay, so I'll give you all a little time to go through these 2 first. Please ignore the corrections because I make a lot of corrections. So, that's okay. And I'll show you the next 2. So they've all chosen to do it differently. Some put it as leadership, some put it as student club, some put it as activities. Again, like Ria always says, you decide which part of it you like also, because there's nothing like this is perfect. There's nothing perfect in the resume. So I'm going back to the first 2. And I can keep switching as 2 volunteers rise and shine and start talking to me. Come on, anybody. We have so many
just
people.
very quickly, we have a lot more to cover and just the time. I don't know how long.
I'm just hoping that whatever we cover, we do it well. So let's do this. With the rest, the later part, we can just glance through it. Anyone wants to jump in?
Yes, I want to talk myself, Anupama.
Tell me which one you like and why.
Yeah, I actually like the way you said about running about the hospitals. I would like to say in this one of the incidents happened in my life.
Okay.
So it was my dad who was like 73 years old, who was admitted to a hospital to do some cardiac issue. So the thing is like there the issue was the hospitals, it was Apollo Hospital. So the lesson I learned at the leadership angle is the process of the insurance. My father had a central government office in India. He's a retired person. He had an employee, the retired person's insurance for which he got admitted. And trust me, it took 8 hours after 11 o'clock in the morning was his discharge time. And he got relieved from hospital at 9 in the night.
There we go. See, and if you were applying for a position where insurance was important or working with senior citizens was important,
yes,
filing papers.
The thing that I realized that the process gap is, how come a company which says that a hospital like Apollo, which cares for the senior citizens, can keep a patient for 8 to 9 hours? So when the leadership I took is, I spoke to the insurance guys, I sat with the doctors. I said, I'll improve your process. I don't want to take anything. I'll sit with you.
Wow.
And that's the opportunity that we see. And that's exactly what happened to me when I wanted to do my own startup. I thought this could be one of the pain points that I could address. I'm not successful today with my insurance, with the fintech I took up. But then these are the pain areas that actually are the process gaps or certain things that makes us to talk and solve it in one or the other ways. So
there
many
we go.
of us,
failures leads to learnings. Absolutely
that's
correct.
the thing I wanted to say when you said that you have touched my heart. So that's one of the things that when I talk to the people, definitely I would like to say I'm not a person on a career break. I tried a different thing. If I'm not working for 8 to 10 hours for a company, doesn't mean that I don't have any learnings, or I am not thinking as a person who is educated, has been worked. It's my past experience is what made me to sit with the people and say that I'll follow up and do whatever the things are required to get my dad out.
And absolutely, and if you are making your resume, I'll be able to help you write it in such a way that every company will notice. Okay, so don't worry about that. But-
Yeah, I just
so
wanted to
thank
share
you so much.
to motivate everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, we have a shortage of time. If there's any one person who wants to talk about any of these four that they like, please jump in. Else we'll do it.
I'll go with the third one because
Awesome.
in a crisp way, it tells where, what, and exactly the short details. So it's easy to understand about the leadership qualities of the person.
Beautiful. Okay. I'm not going to take on more. Ria, you want to quickly talk about what you feel is a gain and pain in the first one and the second one, and I could do the third and fourth then.
Yeah, the first one, while it's pretty straightforward, clear cut, simple, I think again, this could definitely be like a difference of resume and like a lack of experience and just to cover the gap. But if you do have a lot of experience, I would say don't focus so heavily on your extracurricular activities, because recruiters will tend to look at your experience more than activities. Because especially when you name it as activities, it can be looked down upon like, oh, just something they kind of did in their time. And if any of that is more important, I would include that as part of your experience as well. If you think it is applicable to the job that you're applying for. In the second one, I think the second one does a really good job at putting in their on-campus involvement. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of show don't tell happening in the second one, which I think is very impactful as well.
I agree. There's a lot of victories there. And if you notice, the word on-campus involvement is very powerful. Coming to this one now, very beautifully presented, very crisp, the third one. I struggle when if it's going to work, why would I care if it's Econ 201 or Econ 300? Irrelevant numbers, be careful. Don't give irrelevant numbers. Numbers has to be very powerful. I also struggle if you can't tell me coordinated first year orientation for how many people, held how many social events, okay, oversaw outreach to how many students. Okay, so that is a very, very big struggle going on here. Okay, and such beautiful positions, co-head, ETA, that's the teacher's assistant. Okay, this one, it is so messy. If this student has just decided to throw in point, who's going to read it? You know, if you are disrespecting your own work, I will disrespect you. Take two of these and talk about it in details or in 2 lines. That would have been a lot more. You're telling me Eclipse rocketry, you're telling me Davis, you're telling me date, and then you're saying dash payload and payload integration. I don't understand. The HR may not be able to understand it. So you have to be very careful. With that, let's come to our section 5, skills. Obviously, how are you productive? How do you separate yourself into hard skills and soft skills? What skills are in demand for that specific job is very important. How do you highlight your proficiency when you're showing, not telling? Please don't write Microsoft and Google and Excel and PowerPoint. Everybody is supposed to know these, okay? Be economical. You can even literally just use one words, okay? Okay, we really don't have much time here. So we're just going to show you the ones that have been done. Ria, do you want to do gain and pain for these two quickly?
Yeah, the first one I think is it's clearly a tech student. I think it's very well organized, programming languages, operating systems, and technologies and environments. And if you're familiar with tech, I mean, even as somebody who's not familiar with tech, but if you are somebody who's in the tech field, you know exactly what that means. So you know exactly what to look for when you're hiring a candidate. With the second one, I think there's a little bit of extra stuff that's like putting a damper on the actual technical skills and certificates, which I think should have been highlighted over the languages and activities. Languages and activities can be very, very important. But when you're applying for a tech job, like I think this candidate is, they do tend to value technical skills and certifications and trainings in that field. And they tend, because you're working with these softwares all the time, so they need to know you're proficient in them, which is why I think those should have been highlighted. But I like how they've listed all of these other things. And in some situations, it can definitely be an addition to their resume, a good addition to their resume?
Again, it seems to be thrown in. Be careful, don't throw in administrated alcohol policy panel, microfinance and impact, peer tutor, finance club, South Asian society. What are you impacting? How is this relevant to the job you're applying to? You can't be applying to everything. You're applying to one. So this person's obviously decided one resume flows to all, which is not true. So be careful. In the first one, again, avoid HubSpot, Google Analytics, Microsoft Office. You could have, that person could have definitely cut it. And a tech job, our studio is regular. It's not a, so you could have made it one line. There's
Again, some job descriptions will mention PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel specifically. In that case, include it, because your resume won't pass through the screening otherwise.
True.
That's something that is like a dicey thing, whether to include Microsoft or not, because a lot of resume screening softwares will not even pass your resume if it doesn't have Microsoft on it. So see, depending on your field, what seems to be the standard. Again, in STEM fields, it's usually not preferred as much. It depends on what position you're applying to. Maybe tech specifically, you don't need to include it. It's kind of a given. But in something like me, who's going into marketing in the creative field, it does matter. So I like to have that on my resume. So again, depends on the candidate.
Again, we have two here, don't have the time to go through it, but if you notice, I love vertical lines. It's just so easy to read. But the last one is also brilliantly well done for someone who's interested in design, pretty obviously. It's important to mention these right words. So, it's very well done here. So readability, I'm just going to run through this. Use a reasonably decent size font. Have a clean font. Please don't think italics and Lucida and everything works. Respectable margins. Dividing yourself into the right zones and how you call it, like on-campus involvement sounded so much better than activities. So, very important. Have adequate spacing. So don't shove in everything because you want to say more, because saying more sometimes means read less. Okay, be careful. You can abbreviate your months of employment if at all you want to put it. You include proper contact information, but don't go into 304, blah, 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 block A, 5B, not needed, simple. Grammarly and spell check, free resources, please use it. Get it reviewed from someone in that industry. This is super important, and which is why I say Aspire for her is like a game changer in your lives. I wish I had it. I wish Ria had it. She would have got a job 6 months earlier, but that's it. You have to have someone in the industry review you, because they know exactly what works, what doesn't work. Okay. Cover letter, very important aspect. Like I said, it's almost mandatory. I'm not going to go into it because we're going to have another one, but there's an opening paragraph, a middle paragraph, a closing paragraph. Okay. Middle. Okay, I'm assuming that's just someone. Okay. I think this is some of the things that we had created, hoping we had time which stands out, but we've done a lot of which stands out. Ria, do you have a favorite? Pick up any one and why?
I mean, right off the bat, 5 already has a number.
And a big number to begin with.
I just scanned this page. I made this page and I just scanned it, and 5 already has a number. So it's immediately caught my eye.
And a big number, and it says revenue. Revenue is a key word for any company. So yeah, I go with the same. If there's anyone else who wants to choose another one. Nandini, do we take another 10 minutes or is it too much already?
5-7 minutes is okay with us. You can go ahead. It's great.
Okay, so resume gaps. And I'm hoping people need that here today. Be transparent on the reasons you took your gap. Reassure the hiring manager why you won't be doing it again. Share the values you picked up through your gaps. Keep your explanation short. Don't make it a long sob story. No one's interested. Okay. Keep it simple. Your finish line must mention so you have, what you've done with it. Okay. Upskill your core strengths. Always, if you're going to have a gap here, take online courses, take programs, go back to some form of studying, upgrade yourself in today's day and age. Okay. I just heard Ruchita saying, put Telegram online. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to learn to use Telegram. My students keep telling me, Auntie, you're not on Telegram. Okay, I use Anchor and Instagram and Twitter because that's it. That's what you will have to do. So you make sure your gap doesn't mean a gape. You're not dumb. So don't dumb yourself. Everything that has come new in technology is only stupider than what we had in our time. So you can learn it in less than 3 days. I guarantee you that. Okay. The whole intent of technology is to be not take too much of your time. So please, 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 guys, go back to it. Okay. And AFH is really helping. I know I did the LinkedIn courses with them. Okay, couple of examples. Please read this yourself. This is some of the things they wrote in their cover letter. Very powerful. Like one of our mentees mentioned about ailing parents, it's already there in so many different ways. And look how interestingly it's been put there. You guys can take a photograph and read it later as well. I know, I'm so sorry I'm rushing you all like this. I really want you all to do a take on Ria's resume. She's been so honest and so transparent by putting both her resumes and allowing you to scavenge her, literally. So with that, quick tips, very easy, our do's and don'ts. We've actually spoken about it, but you all can go through it, ask for the PowerPoint, and we'll help you. You analyze, we listen. Ria, your take. Everyone, any two people can look at these resumes and please tell her what is good, what is bad in either of them.
So I'm not going to tell you which one's old, which one's new. One I made in June and one I made 2 nights ago. If you've been paying attention, you will know which one's new. But anybody, please shout out, tell me what you like from any of them. Tell me which one you like better. Tell me what I can do better. Please, just this is like Auntie's not seen this resume either. Like this is, she's looking at this for the first time too. So please just let me know what y'all think. And like, again, I'm in the marketing creative field, so my resume is probably different than what a lot of you guys are used to looking at. And it's also very modern and like different looking. It's all like colorful and stuff, which is not the industry standard for a lot of more conservative field.
Yeah. But it is a demand in your industry. Yeah, it's a demand in her industry.
I like the first one, the left one.
Okay, tell us why.
Because it is more readable. The right one, the fonts are too small for me to, go through every detail. And the left one, particularly the academic coursework where she's highlighted, those words, catchy words. So I think that works well more than the right one.
It's interesting that you mentioned readability because the font size is actually the same.
It's the same.
Okay. It's not changed.
But you're right, because it's really the power of the eye. The eye decides what's better, what's not. And that's what your resume has to do. It's the power of the eye. It all boils down to that. The first impression, the first 7 seconds.
Okay, so there is something, Priyanka, can I intervene?
Yes, please.
Okay, I like the second one more because, okay, so even if she, okay, so the kind of field I am in, it's more technical. So I think they expect more of a serious stuff rather than, different fonts and glossy things coming up. So for me, I like the second one more. So
I think at this point of time, I think we're all focusing on the look rather than what's written inside. And that's
I know, and it's a little bit small and a little bit difficult to see, but if you want to like, there is specific content things in both of them that I would like you guys to focus on if you can read it. I know it's for some of y'all, if you're on like smaller gadgets, phones and things, it might be difficult, but for those who can, who are able to read,
I've tried to make it a little wider.
And the left one have the header not so good, but the left one is very good.
Okay. So you like the way the headers have done?
The right one header is good, but the left one is not good, but the left one
Fine.
is good.
Understood.
मतलब
बिल्कुल ठीक बोल रहे हैं आप कि लेफ्ट वाले में आपको हेडर्स, राइट वाले में आपको हेडर्स अच्छे लगे हैं, पर आपको लेफ्ट का तरीका अच्छा लगा, एंड दैट्स फाइन, आप हिंदी में बात कर सकते हैं.
हाँ मैम.
Beautiful. Okay, Ria, you want to jump in and share your experience with both now?
So, of course, if you couldn't tell, the right one is the newer one. It's something I just recently put together, and it's got all the same content. I haven't changed the content. I mean, of course, I've changed the wording, but in terms of what I have included, what aspects I've included, nothing has changed. But to me, it looks much cleaner. Like, I really care about how it looks. If it looks clean, if it looks consistent. So that's what I try to do. And as somebody pointed out to me, the coursework projects on the left side is so distracting. It looks like I work for those companies. I don't work for those companies. I just did school projects on those companies. And that's why I put it in a little section on the bottom right-hand corner of my new resume. And it does highlight those brand names, but it clearly says academic projects. So you know that I did them in class.
And I really liked how the gentleman pointed out, you know, the whole work experience sounds so much better than work history. Academic experience sounds so much better than academic coursework and projects. So,
and
amazing.
also I did remove soft skills because I did include my soft skills in the description of my work experiences. And that's something that I think was not very strong with my old resume. I actually went and reworded all of my descriptions. I bullet pointed them. I added quantifiers. And it's in my industry, it's difficult to quantify these kinds of things because the work is so creative and so abstract. But where I could quantify, where I could make some skills or some leadership aspects known, I tried to do that. Again.
Beautiful. So we will send this to everyone later, I'm hoping, but now this is not something we need to go in, but we've actually taken our time to find out the important, relevant soft skills and hard skills needed today. Action words, very easily found online, but we've taken out the efforts to put it out for you. So, you know, Nandini, I hope this can be sent out to everyone. This is a little bit about our contacts. So, you know, if you need to reach out to me, please feel free to reach out there. And I think Nandini, Madhura, and Ruchita will decide which are the 5, but we're happy to help. And with that, let's just jump into any questions if we have.
Yeah, we will just announce the 5 participants that we are telling. So
awesome.
After you finish, Doel will just announce that. So we will send our thing across, some email IDs to get the resumes.
Okay, and before we just move out, so Priyanka, all the people who have registered today, I mean, who are part of the event today, just make sure that you fill the polls, because that's when we will get your email ID, and only after that they will get the recording, or they will get this presentation. Otherwise, yes, so it's very important for them to fill the poll so that we know that they are interested.
Oh, so, you know, maybe please run the poll again. So students, all those of you who thought you don't have to do it, please do it, because you really need this presentation. There's so much we've thrown into it, but when you actually go through it again and again and again is when you learn. So I really appreciate them mentioning this. Make sure you do the poll, because only then will they have the details, and that's only when they can send it to you.
Yeah, Priya, can you run the poll?
Yeah, yes, Nandini.
Sorry, I did just see somebody ask again about whether they should share their resume or CV in the job. And I just wanted to quickly answer that, if that's okay. The industry standard is a resume. You will specifically be asked for a CV if it is needed. Of course, a lot of job applications will say resume/CV. But most recruiters are not looking at it for more than 30 seconds on the maximum. It's 6 seconds in a high volume job, 30 seconds on the maximum. They don't have time to look at 3 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages worth of stuff. So to give your one-page resume is good, because it will hopefully lead into an interview where you can talk more about these kinds of things.
Absolutely. And again, remember keywords. Your resume, a lot of times, is going to be fed into a computer to see if it's relevant or not. So it's that one page that they're going to run. They're not running 2 pages. Okay. So that one page is the one which is going to be run. If you have a 2-page resume and the second page is run and you've lost out, imagine what it does to you. It's damaging. So be very, very careful on that. Oh, I'm feeling really sorry that the polls had to be run in the end. So those who had to jump out, I feel bad, but
we'll find them somewhere, Priyanka. Don't worry, we'll find them. We'll make sure that everybody who's attended today, because most of them have stayed almost till the end. We've just lost about 20 of them. But
yes,
we found lots of insights, I guess.
Thank God. That means I wasn't boring.
No, not at all. I think there have been a lot of takeaways from this session.
Ma'am, I have a request. Can I share?
Please do.
Like Priyanka ma'am shared, even I was on a career break for more than 10 years. So can we have a sample of a resume of somebody who was on a career gap for so long? I mean, how do they present their resume? If possible, I'm sure that is not possible, but then if it is, please do share.
Ruchita, I think it inspire for her. We have many such people if they're wanting to share. It's very private.
Yes,
but
it is very private.
In case the name is not there, just the format, or at least how do they fill the career break would be, the screenshot of that part would be helpful.
What I will suggest, and Priyanka is the best person, she showed the 3 reasons in one of them, which talks about reality. And the rest is just like you would apply normally in a normal case.
I have taken the screenshot for the same, yes. I did.
And it is just about that. So you will not be able to go through somebody else's shoes, but you can just put whatever you have. And you can definitely apply for the mentorship that Priyanka has just mentioned. Doyle will announce later how you can do it, and then you can talk one-to-one with Priyanka.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I think we have come to the end of today's session. Priyanka and Ria, we are so delighted, so thankful to have you with us today. Believe you me when I tell you that we had a set of questions with us, but we need not ask you those questions because each and every one of them were covered by you during the session. So it was that comprehensive and that detailed. Because of lack of time, we would have loved to take this session forward, but we are tied up. So as well as you, Ria, you have a busy day in front of you. It's early morning out there, we know. So, before I give the vote of thanks, I would like to, share that Priyanka has been gracious enough to have a one-to-one resume building session for 5 lucky, participants today. What you have to do is that just send me a write-up in my mail ID that why your resume should be the chosen one. And on the basis of that, we will do a screening and we will coordinate and we will have those sessions on the mutually convenient time between you and Priyanka. That is one thing. So we have come to the end of the session formally. Here, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude once again for the time, for the schedule, for everything, you both have taken out and shared on our AFH platform. We look forward to have more sessions with you in the near future. Last but not the least, I would like to thank Madhura, Ruchita, all my teammates for, putting this up and having this, time with us. And to all the students, all the best for your resume building exercise, which may land you in all your dream jobs. Thank you and have a great evening ahead. Take care. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank
we
you
have another
so much.
announcement. So while Priyanka has helped today everybody in building their resumes, We also have a LinkedIn session coming up in the first week of August. And this is basically because this is the time when campus placements are on. There are internship opportunities which are happening. So please stay posted and look at our social media where you are going to be getting the messages. And as Priyanka mentioned, we will have her back again and do a fantastic session, I think, on SOP, because this is something everybody needs. We can do covering letter. If you people have some suggestions, you can write to us. Right now, it is Doyle's email ID that's posted, I think, yeah. It's doyle.sam@aspireforher.org is where you will send your resumes. And if you want to share some more requirement of sessions, please feel free. But I know one thing what Priyanka has mentioned, and that is bang on clear. Today, recruiters have 1,000 CVs at one time. And what Ria mentioned, and she's really young enough to mention that they have only 6 seconds to look at your CV. What is it that is striking in your CV? And that is what you have to work at and not fill it. You have to show, not tell. I totally agree with it. I have received so many CVs and I'm telling you, I myself feel the candidate is lost and does not know where to apply and what to apply. I cannot figure out the skill set of the candidate because there's so much in that CV. So do not confuse your recruiter. Show him your skill. And with that, Priyanka is always there on our platform. And today, because of her, there are tons and tons of students who've made it to big universities, to big organizations. And let's take maximum of her. The session is live on YouTube. Please go to Aspire for Her's YouTube channel and you will be able to see more of Priyanka and again, catch over the entire session. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing all of you all again for the next one. Thank you, Priyanka and Ria.
Thank you.